Yes.
My camera's not working, and I'm about to join it on my phone as
Okay.
well. My laptop camera sort of goes in and out sometimes, so I'm gonna join it on my phone so I can cut a camera on, so you guys can sort of see what we're seeing.
Perfect. All right. Let me see. Oh, I see you now, Hugh. Nice polo there. You guys are on mute in both devices.
Yeah, I know because it's a echo when I talk.
Yeah, but if you are muted in one, that works. But you were muted in both devices.
Okay.
So now we're good. So again, I wanted to say, how do you guys want to do this? You guys want to do a Q&A, or you guys want to do a presentation style? What do you think, Joe?
It really doesn't matter, but my main thing when I started playing with it, the first thing I tried to do, I tried to set the time and date on it, and I went by the manual, and it never worked. I don't know.
Okay.
So can you? So one of the intentions of this conversation was to have that display shown virtually, so we could start sort of going through that and going through the
Right.
steps. So is that something we can do to just start the process? To start from the first step all the way on. Is that something we can do?
Now
Or
you're talking about setting up the monitor, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
Clifton.
yeah.
Sure.
Setting the monitor up based on what I have operating in the cabinet.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I can walk you through it.
And that's what I was gonna do. But once I couldn't get the time and date to stay in there, I quit because I did what the manual said, and my time and date never stayed in. That was the first problem I had. So I stopped right there. I didn't do anything more. I said if I can get time and date in there, it's gonna leave me trying nothing else.
Okay. Now it accepted it, but it didn't save it when you power it off.
Save it. It didn't. I put it in there. When I go back to the main menu and go back to it, it's gone.
Okay.
It never saved it. It never saved unless I did something wrong because I didn't see no step say how I had to save it.
Yeah, generally at the monitor, it's real time, right? Anything you change, it just updates automatically. With the controller, you have to enter edit mode and exit edit mode, but the monitor is just it just does it as you go.
Yeah, I'm not using the controller.
Right. I was just saying, yeah. So you shouldn't have to save anything in the monitor. It just does it. You change it and it's set, right? So all right. Well, now the thing is that's indicative of something not right with that. I mean, it should save it, right?
Yeah, right now it has 631. So we know it's not 631.
Right. So yes, you tool, right? The little wrench tool setting, and then time and date, and then it's automatically in edit mode, right? Oh yeah, sorry. If you hit the little wrench key, wrench button, that's tools. And it should be hit enter on time and date. And then, so that's where you just hit the down arrow to go to time, and you should be able to adjust it there, and it should change it automatically. Let's see. Okay, there is a set time and date down there at the bottom, but I assume you did that because that's what it says in the manual.
That's why I had a problem at when I put the time in at the bottom. I'm thinking it's supposed to automatically go in there once I hit enter, but it never saved it at all.
So, okay, so can we go ahead and just go ahead and change it right now? Just let's just check it out. Let me see what's happening. I mean, it's possible.
Let me get my phone.
Yeah, it's possible maybe an issue with this unit. I'm not sure where this came from.
Maybe it was me. Because I didn't do it. I didn't do it just way to hit the wrench. I went through the instructions in the book.
Okay. Then I need to double check that because this is the way I do it.
Okay, see how it says set time and date. If I go down here to set it, I should be able to set it.
Right. So if you go ahead and hit the right arrow, you should be able to cycle over to those other digits and just change it to something else. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
right.
think you're,
I know that part. I know that part right there. So that'll be. And
and
you
then
go
the
up
plus
and
and minus.
down.
Well, it should be the plus and minus key. Sorry. So generally speaking, in the monitor, the arrow keys will move around the menu options. The plus and minus will change the values, right? And they'll cycle up or down, and it wraps around. So yeah, just go ahead and change it to something else other than what it was showing.
Seconds too.
If you want, but mainly we just need to change to something and make sure that it saves it, right? So once you finish changing it, hit the down arrow to set time and date. Oh, yeah, so you should be able to just, yeah, see, that's what I was saying. You shouldn't have to save anything. So when you're,
after that, what do I do after this? So that's the time right there. 9:07.
that should be all you need to do. So if you go ahead and go ahead and cycle power, yeah, if you want to,
How do you cycle power?
Well, on your cabinet, do you have a equipment power switch?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just flip that. And give it a second to power down. Oh, was the switch controller power or equipment power?
It's
It doesn't seem to be powering off. Oh, there we go. Okay, it just took it. Just give it a second.
Okay, so this now my next question is, if I'm out in the field trying to do something running, I have to set my intersection down to change time and date.
Well,
that kind of like don't make sense.
Well, no, but I'm trying to make sure that it saves the time change when it's powered down. Right. Because if there's something with it wrong with it saving, usually that means that it's not. I'll have to double check if it's either a coin battery or a super cap that's basically powering that real time clock, right?
Now you see it didn't change the time. It's showing 9:03 now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't you change it to 9? It was from 6 to 9?
I changed it to 9:07.
Yeah, it was
now it's showing 9:03.
Oh, that's interesting. Let's see. Okay, all right. Let's try this. So go back to the tools menu. And then set time. Yeah, time and date. Hit enter once. The middle. Yeah, there you go. So, yes, it's 9:03. Okay, so go down arrow once, and then over to the right till you get to the 3. Now change that to 7, and then move off of it. So change it to what you want, and then hit the arrow key to move off of it.
Down.
There. Okay. Yeah, it could be right. Or that's fine. Okay, so now go back to your main menu. Hit home. It should go back to your main.
HM is home?
Yeah, HME is home. Sorry.
All right, now I saved it.
Okay, so that's what I was suspecting. So
that's what you have to hit HME.
HME is to go home. So each field, it saves it when you exit that field. Okay. Right?
The book don't say that.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to note that down because I'm they usually have me review manuals. That's something we probably should add in there.
That would be a good idea if you could make a cheat sheet on some, not the whole thing, on the basic stuff like changing times and enable your phases, your flashing yellow arrow stuff that needs to be done or something like that. Then I can play with it because I do flashing yellow arrows a lot. Time and date, the enable phases and the inhibit phases, the phases you ain't using, how you program whatever you wanted to monitor into it. That's right. All I want to use. It just whatever I'm servicing, that's all I want to monitor. That's all I want to program.
Yeah. No, that's a good point because when I'm walking, customer calls says, okay, I need to set this up. I don't know how to do it. I'm walking through step by step how to program it for their intersection. That kind of sort of, like I said, like an outline, like a cheat sheet is not in the manual. It's just, here's all the information. So that's a good best. Maybe something we should add in there as an appendix. Like, here's how you set it up step by step.
Yeah, because I got stuff. And that's just with the time. Going by the manual, I got the manual and I did just with the safe to set time and date, and it never set. And it never one time mentioned hit that HME key.
Well, no, the HME. So in the very beginning of the manual, it gives you a general overview of the keys and what they do. Right, HME goes home. Config menu. You got tools menu. All the power buttons along the bottom to see the current state of voltage that the monitor is seeing. how to navigate, things like that.
Right.
What saved it, and that's what I had you move off the field. So when you were changing the time, you change it to 9, then you move the cursor, the blinking cursor, over to the minutes. You changed the minutes, but you never left that field, so it didn't save it.
Okay, so you have to leave the field.
Yeah, you have to move on to something else. See, I suspect it, but the thing is, because I'm usually kind of whipping through these, I don't notice it that
But
you move off the field.
what I was doing, in which what I'm used to doing on other monitors, once you put something in, you enter it and then it saves it. So that's what I was doing with the manual. Don't say none of that.
That's true. Yeah.
We'll put together.
So that's where I got stuck at. I'm so used to putting in data and hit enter, then it'll save it.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. That's
So that's something new. It's just a learning curve. That's why I say a little cheat sheet will help. It'll get you, just something to get you started. And then you'll know where you need to be at it and things you need to do until you get used to this type of monitor. Because I'm used to something totally different.
right. Yeah. Now, what do you normally use?
I got 5-6 different monitors out there.
Oh, all of them. Okay.
I'm trying to get rid of them. I got EDI monitors. I have Nasdaq, the smart monitors. I have the Traffic West smart monitor, which is the EDI monitor. And then I have that 5, 10, or 12 or whatever it is, that real old one that Traffic have been selling for years that they quit selling.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I'm trying to get away from all this different stuff, and I want one monitor, and I just needed to work with all of my controllers and all my different cabinets. I got a lot of different cabinets also.
Right. So this, where it does all the same stuff that, say, an EDI does. It just, doesn't cost as much. And it's a little different navigation, right? So if you'll notice, is this one of the newer units on that jumper card? Does it have the little components that you can save the configuration to the jumper card? I don't know. I see it's a green card. I don't think it's one of the new ones.
No. This is my test card I have in there. Your card, I didn't. This is my test card. I have everything. This card soldered. So
you got a cheater card.
I wasn't going to see that. I have this cabinet full right now, so I wasn't going to solder everything on your card because it's not my monitor. So I couldn't do your card.
Right. So that was just what I was saying, because a while back EDI added the ability to save your configuration to your jumper card, so it's easy to swap out monitors. So we did the same thing. We have the same functionality. Now, the main difference is the way you set it up. I honestly think that it's a much more logical step-by-step, like you're going down a list. So if you, like when I walk somebody through setting up, first thing you do is you hit that the config menu button. Like here, we go take a look at it. If you just hit config menu, it should be on the right side. And then the per channel config, so you go down arrow once and then enter. And so basically this is the very top of your settings list, right? So when you do that, you're at it. It starts at your well, it starts with the most important, which is usually your flashing yellow arrow, right? If it's a TS2 monitor, right? We have a TS1 that it doesn't show up on. And then you start going down. So you're in the multi-indication setting, and it's right and left arrows to cycle through your channels, right? So right now it's on channel 1, and then it's plus and minus to cycle through the options, and it'll wrap around up or down. You can also from here hit the help button at any point, and it'll tell you what this setting is, what the setting options are, and what each of them means. So yeah, go ahead and hit the help button.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it tells you, and then you can hit the down arrow to get to see the rest of it, right? So it tells you exactly where do you see it? Yeah, hit the down arrow once. Oh, sorry, actually done with that. And so it tells you each one of those letters and exactly what they mean. Right. So it's all right there. A lot of this stuff, if you kind of know traffic, you don't really need to check the manual. It's kind of right here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, see, there you go. With the standard T, it's only checking the green walk yellow versus red and green walk versus yellow, right? That's the default, like vehicles multi indication, right? So if you just hit the previous button, so previous will always just kind of take you back one menu, right? The PRV.
It's right there on the left by the arrow.
Yeah, see the PRV. Yeah, so to navigate around, just kind of giving you the general idea how to navigate around. So now we're back at this. So here you would just go right or left arrow to select the channel, plus or minus to change the setting, and then you just hit the down arrow to go down to the next setting. So if you hit the down arrow, it'll go down to the next option. So once you're done setting on your multi-indication for every channel, you go down. Now it's green to green inhibit, right? You right and left, same thing. Right and left to change the channel that's selected, up and down to change the value for that channel, and then down to go to the next setting. And you just go all the way down till you're done, right?
Okay. So the green to green inhibit, what did that actually mean?
Well, if you go green, if you hit the help menu, and it'll tell you, yeah. So.
Okay, got you.
Right. Yeah, so it kind of gives you a little sum up. Generally speaking, most people don't need to mess with this, but now this is so green inhibit. Sorry, so EDI calls this yellow trap, but because it's proprietary, we can't use the same name as them. But it's exactly the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's that they own that apparently.
That takes the monitoring of the yellow out. That's what that means.
It's to avoid a yellow trap when you have a preemption and a flashing yellow at the same intersection.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, because a preemption can cause a yellow trap if you don't turn the setting on.
Kind of like a left turn trap.
That's exactly right. Yes.
Okay.
So you just hit previous or help to get out of that menu and just go back to where you were. And so if you don't have a preemption there, generally don't have to worry about this. And then you can hit. Now, at any point in this list, you can always go back, right? So like say, oh, I forgot to change the multi-indication to. Okay. I forgot to change the multi-indication on my PEDs, right? To not monitor the yellow. Well, you can just hit the up arrow once and you can go back up in the settings. You can backtrack at any point. Right. The cumbersome about the EDI, I felt that it was hard to go back, right? If you missed something.
Mm-hmm.
So at any point you just go up, back up, change something, come back down. Right. It's just imagine it in a list. So there's your multi. And so if you just go down again, down arrow, you go so down again. Now we're at red disable, right? So here's where you select the channels that you're not using.
Okay.
Right. So this will basically stop monitoring those channels. Whichever ones you change to yes.
Okay, so the channels you're not using, you put yes in this field.
Correct.
You put Y, you make the Y.
Yes, exactly, because it's where you're going to disable red monitoring, right? You're turning off red monitor.
Okay, good.
Which turns off. It's a number of. It's like 4 different monitoring things that it turns off. So let me go back. All right. Yeah, red monitoring disabled. There you go. And if there's more in another page, see there's a little down arrow on the right side. You can hit down to see the rest of the information, right? But anyway, so yeah, if you go back to help, if you just see there's more information there. It's telling you, okay, right?
Yeah, because I program all my cabinets. I don't want the monitor working no more than need to.
Well, generally speaking, good practice is you do not want to turn off more monitoring than you have to. You want to monitor as much as possible without causing any issues.
Oh.
Right. But yeah, so if you can go back out of there, either hit a help or previous, either one. There you go. Oop. There you go. So again, so you're just going down the list. So once you're done with red disable, you go down to the next one, which I think you hit twice.
The min yellow disable. Yeah, that's I use that a lot too.
Right. So min yellow disable, however, whoops, wrong one. There we go.
Yeah. See that min yellow disable. Let me see what they say. Okay, minimum yellow disable. Okay, so for example, if I'm not using 1, 3, 5, and 7, so I can turn it that yellow off, or if I'm using, let me give you a better example. If I'm using phase one as a pedestrian,
hmm
and I don't want this thing to see yellow, is this the screen that I come to get rid of the yellow for that pad phase?
Okay, well, there's a couple of screens. So this setting is typically used for your pets, right? Because it's yellow change disable. It overrides the 3 second yellow clearance minimum that NEMA requires, right? So for example, because on a ped, the yellow is flashing, right? It's the timing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's obviously it's going below that threshold of 3 seconds. So you have to disable the monitoring of that yellow on that channel. In addition, you also in the multi-indication, there's a setting for PED that when you assign a channel a PED for multi-indication, it'll stop watching that yellow, right? It only monitors the the red and the green against each other, not the yellow.
So
So
because
you may have to do both, one for not monitoring the yellow and one for not paying attention to the timing, right? Depending on, but you'll see. Yeah.
that's a different field.
Sorry?
You have to go into a different screen for that one.
No, multi-indication. Like I said, they do slightly different things depending on what you're doing. Like if you're not using it, or if it's flashing, depends on which one you need to do, right? So if it's flashing, then you just need to do the yellow disable, right? The minimum yellow disable. Sorry, to ignore the timing of it, but it's still there. It works. It does what it's supposed to do, right? But if you're not using it all, you just turn it off, right? You have it not monitor it with the multi-indication.
Okay. I always turn mine off.
Yeah, and that's it's a matter of preference, right? And that if that's the simplest way, then I'd probably do the same thing, right? Just not bother with it. Right. And then if you go down, so you'll see as it goes down the list, it starts with the most important and kind of works its way down to the less important. So this display green, whoops, back up one. Display green as walk is just a cosmetic thing. So if you want, like when it's just on this display, when it's cycling through the PEDs and you want it to display a W instead of a G, when that phase is active, you just change that here. So it's easy to spot which ones are PEDs and which ones are vehicles just by looking at the screen as it's running. That's all that is. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I got you.
Yeah. So okay. So that's just a cosmetic thing. You preference, turn it on, turn it off, entirely up to you. And then you can go down to the next one. What do we have?
Red fail.
Yep, red fail on, green, yellow only. Right, because as you know, red fail, NEMA, so that means that there is no output on a channel on, right? That's a red fail.
Right.
Because the monitor is always monitoring. At least one of the outputs need to be on. Sure. Whichever one happens to be. So you, sorry, so you could turn off, like, okay, for example, you have a doghouse signal, right? And you have your two different channels where you have one where you're using the red, yellow, green, and one you're only using the green and yellow, no red, right? It's sharing the red with another one. You can turn off the red fail monitoring just for the red on that channel you're not using the red on.
For a 5 section.
Correct. Yes. Okay. So you can custom turn off specific outputs for red fail monitoring.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, that's we just do it a little different, and other monitors do it different.
Right. Yeah. That was another thing that was I think EDI had added in, and it was a damn good idea. So we did it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Just turn it off on both ends.
Right.
And normally on the EDI traffic rail, whatever they call themselves, I think they take in and that you turn that off on right. and inhibit it on the 5 section. That's what they do. That's how it is work.
Right. And then after this, it's just it'll show you the jumper card, right? If you go down from here, I believe you're just getting into the jumper card display. Yeah, you have everything jumper, so it's just reading directly off the card there.
Yep, everything is jumper. So this one, so if this field right here, if something not jumping need to be jumped, does that tell you in the screen?
No. So the monitor is I mean, lack of a better word, it's dumb, right? It's just monitoring things, and you tell exactly what to look for, and it looks for those things and ignores everything else, right? Now our controller, when we get to that, the controller will actually tell you based on how you configured the controller, it'll tell you what jumpers you should have and what it's expecting. And yeah, I can show you that. But yeah, the monitor is just reading off the card and showing you what it is, not what it should be.
Okay, so if I put if I put a blank card in there and hit my reset button and I don't have nothing jump, is there a screen that's gonna say, okay, you just need so and so not jump because it's trying to come on?
No,
See,
it'll
okay.
just show that it's empty, and it'll fail, right? Because as soon as two phases come on together, it'll say, it'll give you a conflict error, right?
All right.
Immediately.
Different. That's different.
Because nothing's jumpered.
Right, because I know the other one it'll do that. So say for example, if my startup phase is 2 and 6, and I put a blank die card up there, that screen is gonna tell me my problem is at 2 and 6. I was just thinking it just had that, but those monitors have that feature in it.
So see, the thing is, it's okay. It's now
Even
when you get a conflict fail, it's
even if you have 2, 6, even if you have 2, 6, 9, and 11, you put that card in there and try to turn it on. It's gonna tell you 2, 6, 9, 11. It's not jumped. It'll tell you that. So I was wondering if this had a feature like that, and because if the reason they have it, if you get a cold solder journey and you don't know why your thing is faulting, and that monitor will tell you that phase that's supposed to work together has a problem. A cold solder it's basically for cold solder joints. That's why I'm asking. I thought y'all had that feature, but y'all don't.
Okay, I have to look into that. Yeah, because in my experience, I'm not. So the information on what should be running together is not coming from the monitor; it's coming from the controller. So unless the monitor's reading it from the controller, I'm not sure how it knows what should run together, other than what you jumper, right? Because that's how the monitor knows what phases can run together. Is you physically put a jumper in there, letting it know, right?
It all comes from the controller. If I have in my
that's
controller
weird.
if I have in my controller that 2, 6, even 9 and 11, if I got work as overlap with 2 and 6, and I don't have them jumped, all of them jumped from 9 and 2, 9 and 6, 9 and 11. If all that's not jumped, the monitor will tell you those are not jumped.
Okay, so now that's a slightly different story. So yeah, so if you have something jumpered and there's something else that has to be jumpered to make that make sense, then it could determine that. Okay.
That's what I'm supposed to, because I know the other monitors I have, some of them do, some of them don't.
Okay, I'm going to note that down and ask.
Some of them do. Yes, you can ask, because some of them do, some of them don't. I know the what's that? Series 500 does it.
Okay.
And Series 500, the Series 500, NASTech does it, and I have another one that does it. I want to say is that the MMU, one of the MMUs from NASTech does it too. Okay. It'll tell you if you don't have some jumper. It'll tell you that's not jumper. That if that solder joint get cold, it's gonna tell you.
Yeah, I guess that because I know it does it for when you set flashing yellow arrow, it tells you what jumpers you're supposed to have and not have. Okay. Right. The monitor knows what it's supposed to do when you turn those on. So okay, yeah, we could I guess it's doable.
That might be something y'all might want to note on and see if it's in there. If not, y'all might can have it added to something future.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm product support, not engineering, so yeah, it could be something they're working on right now, and I have no idea. So I'll find out.
Yeah, it's good especially for cold solder joints. And when them joints come loose, and you can't see it by looking at it. You really can't.
That's true. Yeah.
I had a bunch of them do that to me, so you'll find out. So I think that's something they added to.
I'm getting some good useful information here, not just you. All right, cool.
Oh, it's good to know. So what's after this one?
And that's that's pretty much the end of the setting it up, right?
Okay.
The rest is you have a tools menu for, like you said, changing the date and time, updating its firmware. That's that little wrench there. That's for other miscellaneous stuff. Set up if you're going to set it up to a network. That's how you set up your communications, your IP.
In the wrench, all of that is in the wrench area.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the miscellaneous settings that are not about configuration of the running monitoring the cabinet. Right. It's all the other stuff in the wrench. So yeah, you can, and those are fairly self-explanatory, right? Unless you want to really go through them, right? Time and date, unit information. If you want to like give it a, like, you have an intersection number or name or something you want to put in there, you can label it in there. So when you're accessing it remotely, you know which one it is, right? Things like it has some sort of identifier. Communications, like I said, that's where you set up your network settings, IP, all that stuff. Diagnostic utilities. So that is, oh, okay. Yeah. So you're going, yeah. And then, yeah, I gotta say that a lot of questions that if I ever have, I usually answer in the help menus, right? If I can't remember, I'm not sure, I can just poke in there and see, get a refresher.
I like this one. It's not bad. It's applicated.
Right. Oh yeah, there we go. So I was talking about the P card memory. So it's disabled. Well, it may be disabled because you have the non-memory card in there, or I think it's disabled by default. So if you turn that on, anything you change in the monitor is saved onto the card. So at any point you can pull that card, pop in a new monitor, and go to this menu. It'll actually ask you, do you want to change the settings to what's on the card, or change the card to what's on the unit? Right. And then you select, and boom, you just load the settings into the monitor.
From the card.
Correct. Yes, it'll save it onto that chip on the card. Now it uses, since, like I said, proprietary. It doesn't use the same memory format that EDI does, so you can't cross use it between monitors. But it does work the same way on ours, right? You could switch from any of our monitors to any other monitor using the jumper card to save and move.
Now, how do you get into the P card memory? Do you,
yeah, sorry. So when you're on that, if you just hit, yeah, see, I don't think it'll let you turn it on if you don't have the card in there that allows it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't have the one in mine, and I'm doing it. It won't let me do it either. Yeah, enter, up, down. Yeah, nothing's letting me change it. Okay. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So.
What's reset location?
So reset location. Let's see, when P card memory is available setting. Oh, wait, am I on the wrong field? There we go. Yeah, so you do it. Yeah, it resets this location to unit serial number. So if you go back, let's see, where is that? So if you go back up to unit information, the up arrow. Sorry, yeah, from right there, hit the up arrow. And again, yeah, unit information. So remember I was saying, so unit information, see, there's your serial number, right? It has your firmware information, all that kind of stuff. It also has, get back.
And I'm assuming revisions is the software is on, huh?
Correct. Yeah. Oh, and actually, that's a good question. You pop revisions? Okay, 111. All right, good. Just trying to make sure you have the most recent. Okay. So there's no confusion. So there is. Sorry, let me go back. Time and day communication. Oh, there. Sorry. So in the config menu, when you go to the per unit config, you can change the location defaults to the serial number. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So if you go back out to and hit config menu.
Hit previous. Oh yeah.
And if from anywhere, you could just hit home and it'll go back to the home screen, or hit config menu and it'll automatically go to config menu, right? So yeah, see, there's your home screen is showing everything. On the right side, the config menu.
Okay, the PI is off.
Sorry?
What is the P1 is? What's that?
Port 1. So you're not using the SDLC, so it's turned it off.
Okay. All right. So this monitor your AC?
Yeah, so yeah, it's constantly it's monitoring your AC on all your outputs. So it's got that's showing you the AC coming in. So if you
Right.
want to see the AC going out, you hit the AC voltage button,
Mhm. So
and then you can hit so you'll see all your ACs, right? Your lowest, your highest, average, things like that, right? If you want to see your signal voltages, there's a different button. The button just to the right of that will show you all of your output voltages on every channel. Right there, you go.
that's green.
Right, and so well, that's showing you channel 1. Red is outputting, yellow and green are not. Right, and if you go hit the right arrow, see that little star that's underneath the channel 1 red.
Mm-hmm.
So hit the right arrow, and that'll go cycle through the channels, and down below it'll show you the real-time voltage outputs on every channel and every output. So you can, yeah.
Got a wire issue. You can find out where that wire issue at.
Right. Yeah. So it's a good way, like, common problem with load switches is leakage, right? So you'd be able to go here and you could see, oh, why do I have 20 volts outputting on yellow? I shouldn't have that, right? And you track that down. Where I've got 120 on red, I got I'm getting a conflict or multi-indication error because I've got leakage on another output on the same channel, right? Yeah, there's also a button for DC voltages, right? Because it's monitoring the cabinet power supply and the power supply and the controller as well. If that's so that's just cycling through the channels and it'll change. Yeah, see that one's showing green output is on, 0 on the other ones. Yeah, it'll also let me see. So when the monitor faults, it will take a snapshot of all the outputs. And as long as you don't hit that reset button, you can cycle through all this and see what everything was at the moment that it faulted. So that's a good diagnostic tool to track down a problem.
That yesterday.
Yeah.
I had one going crazy yesterday. It kept starting up, cutting off, starting up, run a little while, go in the flash, jump back on.
Oh.
And it was an energy problem, so I guess they fixed it. But sometimes it's not going to be a power problem. It's be something inside the cabinet doing it.
Right. Yeah.
It's a good feature though.
Yeah. So like I said, along the bottom you get AC voltage, signal voltage, DC voltage, and so that's if you're having power issues.
So if this go down to how many volts to make this thing start saying I don't have enough volts?
That's defined by NEMA. It was at 80. Darn it. I don't recall what the exact numbers are, but yeah, it's now every device that's called an MMU has to follow the same NEMA regulations that all the other ones do. So that's the same as every other monitor. Those thresholds of what's too high and too low. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's I'm trying to remember. It's like 125, 130 is the high, and the low is like 86, 89, something like that before it'll trip like a red fail.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think let me see. I think them 500 series. I think you get to 98.
Okay.
80 something. That's good. I know over 125. So if the power spikes up too high, does this thing
it'll shut up. Yeah, it'll give you a fault and cut and it'll cut off. Yeah.
Good.
If you've got something that's going crazy, yeah, it'll cut power, right? So basically it gives it a fault, switches those outputs over to a flasher, and just
That's a good feature too.
Yeah.
I like that. Because I had a bunch of them get burnt up from too much power.
Yeah, I mean the first line of defense is your breakers and your power panel, right? But sometimes it does get past that. Actually, just in just had a call yesterday in Florida. They had a cabinet that was actually struck by lightning. That was fun. Fried everything in the cabinet.
Get that quite a bit much too.
Yeah.
Is it surge protectors in the cabinet?
Yeah, I got all kind of protection, but that means nothing. You can't stop that high voltage.
Yeah.
Come down.
Right. If you're struck by lightning, you're kind of screwed. Unfortunately, it's not going to. Now, see, on the power panel, you've got a lightning arrestor, you've got surge protector on those little black boxes that's on the power panel on the bottom right. That's standard cabinet stuff. But that's only to protect you coming in from utility, not from the sky.
Well, I had too many of them burn up.
Yeah.
But this right here, I usually get
Yep.
replace this.
That entire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got plenty of them. I'll take the whole file out.
Right.
I'll disconnect everything. Ouch. And put the whole file in there.
Yeah.
Keep every time one of my cabinets get ran
Then
over.
now the thing with power protection, you've got a lot of connections coming in the cabinet. That's why a lot of times on the outputs about down there at the terminal facility, right, where you're connecting the signals, you can get a power, like say lightning strikes a pole, hits the signal, goes through that wire into the bottom of this back panel, right? So a lot of times you'll have the fuses or the MOVs on here on the outputs to protect from that, right? It'll burn those up. But it depends on if your area has a lot of issues like that. Different from place to place.
Grounding is my most common problem here at grounding because people steal the copper off the poles. So
Oh man.
something hit it, and the cabinet gone.
Yep.
It'll burn up that one file. Sometimes I get lucky and change out a surge protector or something, or that file. Sometimes I change the whole file out. All depends on what type of cabinet it is. So that's
Now, what's log?
Oh, okay. So it's saving a log in there. So that's how you go. You can go you can view a summary log, and you can also copy it to USB, right? So if you go in there in the menu, right, you can hit enter, and then you can cycle down through the log. See, it'll give you a time and date of an event, whatever the last event happened. And if you hit the down arrow, you can cycle through various events, right? There was a fault clear at this time, this date. There was a, whatever. It keeps a running log of events that happen, any sort of change of state. Right. So troubleshooting, obviously, something goes wrong, you look back, okay, what happened, right? Now there's a more, so if you download the log, there's a more detailed log. Like if you download it, you can do it remotely, or you can just do it through the USB. Right. You just pop a thumb drive in there, copy the log to it, and it's got a much more detailed, dense log, right, than just the major events.
That was when we restarted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That was it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there's also companion software. Actually, I could probably. So we have companion software called MMU. You can either go through the Ethernet or USB.
We have the computer behind us though, so if you want to pull something up on the screen, we can look at it.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna share my. Trying to get the right screen. Stop that. Okay, that one there. All right, so it's this guy, MMU Reporter. So here's the companion software for our monitor. Right. Oh, sorry. I'll give you a second. There we go. You see it?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, so even tell there's all your settings up here. It tells you can either connect USB or Ethernet, and I'll show you how easy it is to do the USB version. So I have a USB cable connected to my computer, and I'm going to plug it into my monitor right now. Right. So it immediately reads it, pulls it up, gives you all the information, location information. Like I said earlier, location defaults to the serial number unless you want to, like, say you want to change it to, Smith at Jones, right, Street or whatever. You can put that information in there and save it. So on the logs, it'll show the intersection name. On when you access it remotely, it'll show, so it identifies that unit, right? Tells you what type. So you currently have a TS1 on my desk right now. I didn't have a TS2 available. Gives you the firmware version, all the voltages, right? It's reading that. If it was running right now, it's just sitting on my desk, you would see a real-time channel cycling here with the lights, but unfortunately I don't have it right now. And then down here, here's all those settings, right? Your channels across the top. each setting and what that is for each channel, right? So you have a snapshot, a reference of all the settings, right? And even it'll show your jumper card over here, right? I have nothing jumpered, but it would show little marks in here if I had anything. Now, like I said, usually have me. I'm usually reviewing manuals and software and things like that before it's released when it comes from engineering. And I saw this and I was like, what we need is a way to change settings here and then load it back into the monitor. Right. So that's something that I think was they thought was a good idea, and they're probably right now it doesn't do that, but we're constantly improving things, right? So that's something that you could go in here, you could easily change these, click, to whatever settings you want, hit a button, load it into the monitor, right? So you could do it remotely. You could have it pre-saved, so you don't have to be standing out there in the intersection changing things, right? You just walk up, plug in, load, you're good to go.
So that's a TS1. That's a TS1 card.
Currently, yeah, right. So TS1, you're monitoring 12 channels, but you're monitoring 4 outputs per channel, right? So it defaults to this little config here. TS2, you're 3 per channel, but 16 channels, right? Yeah, it's just sitting on my desk, so that's why you're not seeing all the pretty lights over here. Yeah, so this is command software. This was kind of the initial iteration, right? We're gonna keep improving on it. Like I said that after playing around with it, that was my number one suggestion was let's be able to change it here and load it, right? Just like we do with other stuff. You have any questions about this or? Oh, sorry. Yeah, you can even get summary log. You can pull logs from here as well. Right. Here's the event log. Right.
He sold. He likes it.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, I get a lot of requests for, can we do this remotely? Can we do this remotely? Right. So you could, you don't have to get out your car and stand in this god awful weather and mess with it, right? Hell, if you can set up a little short range Wi-Fi, like a little Wi-Fi adapter or something, you can you drive up. You just need to be close, sit in your truck, do everything you need to do, and then drive away, right? Or just do it remotely from your office if you're got to connect it to the outside.
So can I pull the data on my laptop? I can plug in to one of the plugs, and I can pull this monitor up on a laptop.
This program you're seeing right here, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, because this is a window.
What type of cable I have to use?
So for the USB, it's the hold on, let me unplug this. See, because it even says here it's there we go, USB-D, right? So on the USB-D is on the monitor, it's that little square one, like that old you're old enough like me to remember the little printer connector.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it used to be. And then it's a normal USB on the other side, right? That goes into your computer.
Okay, so I plug it to the USB-D.
Correct. Okay. The USB-H is where you use a thumb drive to either upload configuration, save configuration, whatever. Yeah.
And the H for the Ethernet.
Ethernet, yeah, for connection. Yeah, so you can connect to the however you connect, you can still use this program, whether it's through Ethernet or USB. It's just if you're sitting at the monitor, USB is the easier way to go. You don't have to change any settings. You open the program, you plug it in, it reads it automatically, right? There's no mess. With the Ethernet, you have to make sure it's set up properly. You have to make sure the port settings on your computer are right and all this kind of stuff, right?
No, I'd rather the USB-D because settings is a mess.
Yeah, it's easier. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a program for that you have to put on your computer in order to pull up the data.
It's this one right here. It's called MMU Reporter.
Okay.
It's pretty small, right? It's really not. It's not unwieldy.
Yeah, I like
And
that.
it also makes it a lot easier. Oh, somebody waiting. Oh, that's weird. So it also makes saving everything easier, right? So, like I said, if you go into your monitors and you change the location to the intersection name, you could use this to retrieve all those configurations and log files, and they're going to have the labels that so you have backups of their configuration within folders of those intersection names, right? So if anything happens, you have everything you need to set another monitor up exactly the same, right?
Mhm.
Somebody runs into it with their car and you've got to replace it. There you go. There's lots of options, right? You can do it through the card, you can do it through the USB drive, you can do it through this program. There's whichever way is more convenient.
Yeah, I like this. I like it. I like this. It's people friendly.
Yeah, the way you configure an intersection, I find because I've used all different monitors to varying, amounts, but I find this one it just makes sense, right? You just down, right, left, change your settings, down to the next one, right, left, change your settings, down, and then me, of course, you're probably like me. Oh, I forgot, I gotta back up a couple. Okay, change that, go back down, right?
Hmm.
It just makes it easy and it kind of it's just step by step logical, sequential, right? Step one, step two, step three, right?
But I still would like to have like a little cheat sheet for training purposes for my guys.
No, I
So
like that. That's a great idea. I'll go ahead and do that. I'll suggest that. We could probably whip that up, do like a tech note, because I'm
Mhm.
sure other people would enjoy that too, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
That's a good
That's
idea.
that makes it more people friendly. Then you don't have to because the book is just the book, and I mean it don't tell you everything that you need to do. It just don't do it. Because I tried it and I put it down because what telling me it's good to read it and you can get a basic idea of where you need to go, but the terminology and some of those words means nothing until you get into that field and somebody explain it to you.
Right. Yeah, it's like a textbook. It's just a bunch of boring information stuck on a booklet, right?
That's right. You gotta have that teacher. Gotta have that teacher to put out that information. But I'm sold on it. I like it. I like it. I like it better than that trafficware and that EDI one. So
Cool.
I really do because there's a
We can't even get a manual on that.
man, they just a mess. I don't know what to say about them. They used to be good. I've been dealing with those people 20 years, man. And now they just got so bad.
So wait, this software comes with every unit we sell, right? It's for free, or it has
Oh,
to be purchased
no, no,
separately.
no, it's included. Yeah, it's part of the deal.
Right.
Just it's companion software. It's not like a separate product.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm more interested in the configurations of the flashing yellow arrow and the enable and inhibited, the setup.
Yeah, and like so the manual is more of a reference, right? So in here, like I said, the help you can only fit so much information in the help menu. It's a good
Mhm.
refresher kind of reminder, but like if you want to know the full details of what, each setting and multi-indication mean, you go to the manual and it'll give this long form explanation of each one, right?
Right. Right. Yeah, I like it. So I mean, I can give me a little cheat sheet, and I'll be good, and I can kind of like scroll through some stuff because I have some projects coming up, and I would like to have these in my project. So then I don't have to program it myself. So
Now, what does the reset button do? Like, does it
restart the system.
it just restarts that? Does it did any of the settings go away?
No, what it will do, however, is remember I told you when it faults, takes a snapshot of the state of everything, all the outputs and everything inputs. It will clear that snapshot when you
So
reset.
if you reset before you go and check them, they'll be gone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a momentary thing. It's saved in like a volatile memory. And as soon as you hit reset, it's all cleared it back out again. So yeah, you definitely want to poke around before you hit the reset button.
Yeah.
That comment
Yeah.
should be on the
Yeah,
cheat sheet.
yeah. Put that on a cheat sheet. That way I know.
Yep.
Then I can kind of get it embedded into my memory when I go out and have a problem. I have to start searching and looking first. But then I do have my cabinet's gonna have logs in them. So every time a tech go out, he gonna have to look in this monitor and find out the faults and write it in the log. So if we had that same problem, we have a log, then our trouble log.
Put a
Right.
stick.
Especially, yeah. You look at the fault because you need to, you want to note the fault down and you want to note the status of any sort of voltage that's not normal. Right.
Yeah.
Or hell, just note everything down just in case.
Yeah, that's a plus. That's a plus. Most mines have it, but this one here is kind of like a whole different level of things that they're giving you. Because some of them just give you the brownouts and a range of voltages when it's shut down. But if you have a problem at a phase,
Now you can always go back and look at the fault, right? Because that's in the log. It'll log that event, right? Whatever the fault was, time, date. But it's just that save state of all the voltages that goes away. And you also have that information in the log, right? But the full log, you have to download it, look on a computer or something, right, to see all the information. But other than, like I said, just the major events, which you could just check. If you're just want to get it up and running, that's all you need, right?
So that's the only thing that goes away. That fault information, it goes away after you reset it.
The status of the voltage. Remember when I showed you on the voltage screens where it was real time reading the voltage outputs on everything? It's that snapshot of what happened at the moment of fault, right? And then, because like I said, as soon as you start it back up again, that clears out, and those values that are in those fields will go back to what the current reading is. Okay. That's why it clears it out, right?
Now, can you go over quickly the LED?
On the left side there?
Yeah. Go over that real quickly.
Sure. Well, yeah. So these are just straight up indicator lights, right? So your AC power, right? That and the top one is letting you know you have 120 coming in from the cabinet, right? Fault, right? So that light will be on if there is a current fault right now, non-cleared, right? As soon as it's cleared, that light will go dark. Local flash, right? So countless times I've had they can't figure out why the cabinet's in flash, but it's because their shoulder hit that local flash on the maintenance panel, right? So that'll let you know if your local flash function is currently active, right? Which lets you know you have a switch somewhere has it in flash, right? And it's not a fault. It's just it's a switch.
It didn't come on.
What's up?
I have it in flash. It didn't come on.
Is it what is it a local flash or is it a different type?
I put it in the cabinet flash.
Oh, okay, cabinet flash. Yeah, see that now there's a few different types of flash, so that's probably cabinet flash. See, I don't know if that's. It depends on how it's triggered, right? Because there's a local flash function that is triggered by the controller, right? That you could trigger.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Hold up.
So the cabinet flash. I need to know how that cabinet flash is wired.
That's the controller. I turned the controller off, and it still didn't come on. It's giving me the red light flash, but that's not coming on. Maybe.
Wait, do you have a flash switch on the police panel?
Yes. Yep.
Flip that one. See what happens. That may be wired to local flash. I don't know.
Sure.
Oh, well, you have to turn the controller back on. Sorry, before you.
Yeah, hit that. Put it on. There are switches back there in that door. Open that door. Put it
Is there one that says flash?
Okay, it's flash now. Put it. You don't flash. Yeah. Flash. Yeah, it's flashing. It's on.
Okay.
So that might be.
Yeah, so they're not wired to the local flash function then. They're a different type of flash. It depends on how the cabinet's wired, right? So you have on your back panel, right? So there's a wire that's coming from those ABC cables from the controller. That's the local flash function on the controller that's wired to a terminal on your back panel. And if you have a switch, a flash switch that's wired to that terminal, it will trigger a local flash. It's a specific type, right? But you have other types too. You have 4 or 5 different types.
Right. So I'm just trying to figure out when that light come on, what I need to look for. That's just the only thing, because it never came on, so it got to be something else on that back panel.
Right. So those flash switches are wired to different types of flashes.
So
right.
So the type 12. What's the type 12?
So type 12 is when that's the TS1 style monitor, right? So, like the one that I have is a TS1, right? So if the light's off, it's a TS2. It's a 16 channel monitor. It's running as a TS2 monitor, an MMU2. Mm-hmm. If that type 12 is on, it's running as if it's a TS1. It's simulating a old 12 channel TS1, no SDLC, none of that stuff. Right, so you can actually it makes these retro compatible, right? You could take these and put these in old cabinets, and it'll work fine. So it'll still run it. It'll still run it. Now it won't have all the newer TS2 monitoring features, right? Mm-hmm. They won't be. It'll just monitor it basically just be a conflict monitor, not an MMU.
So the type 12 is something that standard, or something that it comes like that, or that's something that has to be. So what if I had a type 16?
Right. So type 16. Let's see. Do you have? Oh, you have it running as type 12, don't you?
I don't know. I just hooked up I'm running 16 channels right now. I'm running 16 channels.
Well, okay, it's a bit of a misnomer. So it's saying type 12, type 16, but it basically means TS1 and TS2. Okay. Those are kind of the same thing ish, right? So because you're not using the port 1, it's it's running as a type 12. You're right. So if you notice at the very top, see how there's nothing monitoring. Do you actually have channels 13 to 16 in there on your cabinet, on your back panel?
Mm-hmm.
So if you look on the very top of the display on the monitor, there's nothing there for those channels.
So it's only picking up the 12 channel, not the.
It's not monitoring those extra 4 channels.
Right. So if they had the BIUs, then it'll be a type 16.
Right, and you can physically change that. So in cabinet design, there's a terminal called Type Select, right? That they added into TS2 back panels, right? The ones that are meant to use BIUs and SDLC and all that stuff. So the monitor is looking at that one. So if it doesn't see that, it defaults to a type 12. If it does see it, it defaults to a type 16. Okay. So it detects. It's basically to detect. Your monitor is able to detect what kind of cabinet it's in and run in that mode.
Okay, perfect. Because this is not a BIU cabinet.
Exactly. So it doesn't have that type select, so it's not there. So it's defaulting to the type 12.
Okay.
Gotcha. Now you can manually go in there and change it if it's there's just some weird setup you have, right? But that's just what it will default to, depending on when you plug it in and power it up.
That's good. I just wanted to make sure. So if I'm operating a 16 phase TS2 or TS1 cabinet, because they have both, that type 16 should automatically come on by itself, or is a setting that I have to go in there and make it operate that so it can pick up both BIUs.
All right. So yeah, see, I can't change it on. You may be able to change it on that one. See, in mine, I actually have the old TS1 12 channel jumper card. Mm-hmm. So we have a different versions, right? So if you had the full TS1 version, there'd be a little metal panel in the bottom of that, so you could only insert the 12 channel card in there, like the smaller one, mm-hmm. and it would run only as a TS1. But you have the 16 channel cards. So if you go to hit config menu, and then hit enter on per unit config, and then hit the down arrow a couple of times so it says MMU type. There it is. So let's see. Can we change? Will it let you change that? It doesn't look like it. Let's see. Can you hit the plus or minus keys on there? See if does it change it or enter? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it requires that type select input.
Because it is connected to it probably knows from setup of the.
Right, because those two cables on the front, they're wired to the back panel, right? So,
So it
if
probably.
if you look on the back panel, you'll see that on the back panel there's probably not a terminal that says type select, right? You would have to, if you wanted to fool it, you'd have to find that wire, apply logic ground to it so that the monitor would think it's a TS2 cabinet.
I just want to make sure. So if I have a problem, then I know. But
Right.
I think it's gonna be okay because the other cabinets they're wired different. The one
Right.
with the
Now,
DIU.
because the type select is separated from the SDLC, it's two different settings, right? So the type select, or sorry, the type 12 and type 16 is dependent entirely upon the back panel, right? Only on the back panel. It's how it's wired. Is it a TS2 back panel? Does it have the type select to make it a type 16? The other stuff, see, because you could like this, you could use this. You're operating like a TS1. You're not using the SDLC,
Right.
and you're
Yep.
right. So you could, however, add in a SDLC cable between the monitor and controller and kind of make it a hybrid, right? Where it could communicate through the SDLC with the controller, but still be it's sort of a TS 1.5, right? Where you're using the SDLC control to communicate between controller and monitor, but it's still everything's direct wire like a TS1, right? All the ABC cables on the controller instead of just the power, right? So you have that versatility.
Yep.
And
I basically most of my stuff is TS1, so I have some TS2 cabinets out there.
Okay.
But that's why I asked the question because I do have some TS2
And then
cabinets.
from there, if you hit the up arrow, I believe once. Yeah, see how it says port 1 disable? So it defaults to disable, but if you do want to add an SDLC cable, you could turn that on and then use that communication between those two devices. Right? That one you can change.
All right, that's good. So what about the watchdog? What's the watchdog? What is it watching?
Watchdog. Where does it say watchdog?
Right here, the last one.
Ah, okay. So that is a good question. So I've kind of had experience with a lot of different cabinets. Watchdog was something in that I first encountered in 332 Caltrans cabinets.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So yeah. So the Watchdog was like those old controllers that you had to oh god, they had to little manually program these cards and put them in just a long time.
Wobbly program.
Right. So I think the Watchdog has kind of changed meaning over time, and I'm not I'm going to look at I'm not sure what it does or what it applies to now, but that's how I remember Watchdog, right? It was a signal that little card monitor would be constantly sending out to the controller, like, are you still there? Are you still there? Basically, right? Which in TS2, that's CVM, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's your constant, your controller voltage monitor. So
Yeah,
I don't, to me, I think that's obsolete, honestly, but I'll have to check into that.
And they probably put it there in case they want to use it, but the watchdog was monitoring the program coming out of the controller.
Right. Yeah, it was.
Oh, that's in the old streetwise.
That's super old Caltrans stuff. We're talking like, yeah, long time ago.
I ain't seen Watchdog in a long time.
Yeah, exactly. And I was a little confused myself. I just kind of ignored it because I'm like, okay, it's just some sort of carryover from a previous time and whatever. But as everybody knows, see, with traffic equipment, it's built to last. So there is a lot of old stuff out there mixed with new stuff. I just recently went to Chicago, and they actually have old electromechanical cabinets running at intersections right today. With the big dials and little discs that are in there, and it spins slowly. It's like this. It's retro steampunk looking stuff, right?
Yep, I had when I first got here, I had like 82 of them. So I got rid of all of them. I don't have any.
Yeah. See, everything has to be backwards compatible, right?
Okay, that's good.
All
So,
right.
you guys have any more questions? Because I personally gotta go to another call. But if you have more questions, Clinton can get on the phone with Chad or with Hugh to keep
Yeah,
going the
absolutely.
conversation. If you want, you guys need it.
Yeah. If you have any more questions, make sure. I don't know.
There you go.
I think you have my email, right? Because I was including that chain.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my number's in there too, in the signature and everything, I think. Or hell, I don't even know if I responded to any of those.
Hey, Omero, I think we're good for now. And we'll reach out. We'll reach out to something up in the next couple of minutes, but I think we're good for now. Thank you guys for putting this together.
We can set up an in-person thing down the road. Perfect.
And we're gonna set up the in-person once we get the cabinet back from DOTD.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And thank you guys too for your time, Joe. I know you're really busy, and thank you for taking the time to listen to what we had to say. And we're eager and excited to be part of your projects that are coming up. Whatever you guys need, feel free to reach out to me or Clinton. And well, any question that come up, we can email or call, whatever you guys need. For now, thank you very much again, and I'll talk to you soon, guys.
Thank you, guys.
All
Have a
right.
nice
Thank you very
one.
much.
Thank you,
All right.
Clinton. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, no problem.
Bye.
Bye.